All right, we're live. You are live. Very cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Greg and Tyler coming at you in the Affiliate Secrets group. Day 2 of our 5 days of going live. And we're a little bit early to give people time to tune in, but we are super pumped, ready to do this thing. We have a ton of notes. And I'm sure that if we did the same notes 10 days in a row, it would probably be a good bit different every single day. So, but we are doing this thing. Let's get some light up in here. There we go. Awesome. Somebody's on. Very cool. Welcome, guys. Welcome. As you're joining us live, go ahead and give us a hashtag live in the comments. We love to see who's joining, who's watching. It's just super awesome to see you guys tuning in. And we'll go ahead before we get started here and welcome replayers as well. So if you're catching us on the replay, when you do, comment hashtag replay and just drop comments as we go, as if you were watching it live, because we love hearing from you guys. And we want to use some of what you guys questions that you have in some of our coming days. And it's so funny because so often, we all have the same struggles and challenges. It's very, very rare that someone really has a truly unique question or problem. A lot of times people say things and it's like, well, that's exactly what we've been through. That's already exactly what we're going to be talking about on one of these days. So, but it's just awesome to connect and to verify and just see that people are in the same places, the same challenges, and we love that. So it's not quite 11, and I'm just going to say it right now. We're going to hit the ground running at 11 and just get moving. Yeah, so I'm just looking over my notes and cool. Let's see. Yeah. Is it 11 o'clock yet? All right. We've got our notes. It's 11 o'clock. Let's hit it.
We got the right banners up, right?
Mm-hmm, we do.
Cool.
Give us a hashtag live if you're live. Give us a hashtag replay. I see several other people have joined, and that is awesome. Guys, today is all about success and abundance mindset. So today is day 2 of 2 talking about mindset. And we could talk about mindset for this could be part 2 of 365, because we could go live every day with just a couple of points and a couple of stories and a couple of illustrations and talk for probably an hour about mindset. It's so true and it's so important. Yesterday we talked about how that mindset is the cake, and then the actual strategy and thing that you're doing to make money is really the icing on the cake. And so the icing without the cake is just really not going to work. And so we're so pumped to dive into this and just success and abundance mindset. We're not really talking about two different things here today. We're really talking about one coin with two sides. One side of that coin is having a success mindset, and the other side of that coin is having an abundance mindset. And gosh, I've got to stick to my notes today, or I could go down quite a few rabbit holes, because there's so much out there about all these things. So we're going to start by actually talking about the law of attraction. So the law of attraction, there's so much out there about it. There's a lot of different takes on it. People feel differently about it and have different things to say about it. So there's really one main area that we want to focus on in it. The law of attraction, want to say this, and I'm going to actually make a banner for it. What you focus on is what you will get. That's so important. I put that up there. What you focus on is what you will get every time, period. What do I mean by that? you will get exactly what you expect to get. And there's a quote from Tony Robbins that says this: "What you focus on expands. What you focus on grows." So, in saying that you will get what you focus on is what you will get, that's why. Because whatever you fix your eyes on, whatever you're looking at, whatever you focus on is the thing that's going to inevitably grow. So Greg's hack is focus on your bank account and it'll grow. And all jokes aside, that's actually very, very true. If you just start to, we're going to talk all about goals and stuff in a minute, but you've got to focus on the things that you want to happen in order for them to happen. If you kind of just don't really aim at anything in particular, but you just think, if I sit down and do enough things, something's just going to miraculously happen. Guys, it's really not. And that's what we're going to talk all about today. So listen, if you focus on your failures, they'll be the things that you're focused on. They'll be the only things that you see, and those will grow, right? Because what you focus on grows. What you focus on is what you will get. So if you focus on failure, you get failure. If you focus on failure, your failures will grow, and that's it. You'll have failure. But if you focus on your successes, if you focus on what's working, if you continue, you will continue to grow your successes. So it's really not a very magical thing here, but kind of a logical thing, that what you look at, what you focus on, and what you set your mind to is really what will happen. So this is a far less application of the law of attraction than like if you were to go and watch The Secret. But we can tell you this from experience time and time again, how absolutely true and how absolutely crucial it is, guys, because either way, it's going to be perpetual. Whether you focus on your failures or whether you focus on your wins and your successes, they're going to perpetuate either way. So keep this in mind. Hone in on the positive things that are happening, the positive things around you, and you'll create more of it. Simply by the nature of focusing on the positive, you will create more of the positive. And so just keep looking for the pieces that are working. Keep pulling on those threads. Always, always, always focus on the positive. Because if nothing else will get you there, that will. Just focus on, hey, that worked. Even if you tried 10 things, 9 of them didn't work and 1 of them just had a little bit of a result. Instead of focusing on the 9 things that didn't work and all the stuff about the 10th thing that didn't work, just say, hey, what's going on here? And focus on that. Focus on what's working. My gosh, I could say it 100 more times, because from all of my life experience, I really want you guys to catch that. Now, I will say this about the spiritual, and this is actually not in the notes, but this is something that I wanted to add today. A lot of times, with the world that we live in seems to be so real and physical, and this wall right here is hard, and everything happening around us is real, and the spiritual is just kind of this distant sort of, not fiction, but this veiled, just kind of mystical thing. I'm here to tell you that the opposite is true. This physical world is the shadow, is the veil, is the thing that's incomplete. And the spiritual realm is the realm that is super duper concretely real. And so these things in the law of attraction and focusing on things to grow, you reach into that realm and you bring concretely real things into this veiled realm. This realm is not the complete picture. The spiritual realm is the complete picture. And when you do this, you reach into there, you focus on the positive, you focus on the things that are working, you reach into that realm and you bring more positive and more things that work into this realm. I can't explain it any further than that. All I can say from my experience, from Greg's experience, from people that we've talked to who are just absolutely crushing it, this stuff works. This stuff works. It's just a law, like gravity. Gravity doesn't not apply to certain people because of because of anything to do with them. Well, if you have this personality or this level of success or this whatever, you can jump off the roof of your house and it won't work because gravity doesn't apply to you. Gravity is just gravity. It's just a law, and it just is. And that's exactly how all of this stuff is too. I promise you that. And so that's what we want to say about the law of attraction. And so bringing it into less of a spiritual thing and more of a practical, you can do this thing. This is one of the most important things that you can do in your life and your business is set a goal. And we're going to take a little bit of time here to talk about goals, because when you do, you start to have measurable things that you can start to, okay, done that. Before you know it, you're really doing something in this online world where it can seem like making money online is a mystery. And just some people, obviously, something clicked. They know something that I don't know. They figured something out that I haven't figured out. I can't find the answer. It's so mystical that people actually make a living and make a large income online. I'm here to tell you, we're living proof of it. We do it every day. And setting goals is a huge part of that. So let's jump right in, guys. A huge companion to setting a goal is that you have to have a clearly defined goal. You have to have a goal to set a goal. A clearly defined goal is of the utmost importance, especially when you're getting started. But then I say especially when you're getting started, but then when you're actually getting traction and you're actually making money, it's just as equally important actually to keep setting goals. I want to make this much. I want this to happen. I want that to happen. I want to make this many sales in X time, which means that I've got to do, X amount a week to meet that. Setting goals gives you something to aim at. And so I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I'm going to stick to the notes. There has to be a target in front of you that you can aim at. That's a clearly defined goal. Zig Ziglar, a living encyclopedia of success. If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Every single time. If you are really dabbling and just trying different things and waiting to just kind of be a blind squirrel that eventually finds an acorn, that might happen. But even if it does, it's going to take a very long time. And it's not going to get you to where you want to be in any time frame that you want to be there. So how can you dial in and tweak things and reach a goal if you don't know what it is? How can you, without a goal, how can you even start to take a look at things and tweak them to get a result when you don't even know what you want that result to be? If you just need to make your first dollar online, that's a goal. If you need to make, I've made some money, but I need to make my first 1,000 online. I need to make 10 grand and recoup what I've spent on some courses and trainings. I need to make, a couple $1,000s a month. All those are different goals, and you got to set them to get them. You have to have a clear goal to focus on so that you ultimately achieve it. How will you even know when you're successful if you haven't defined it and in the form of a goal? So here's my example. If you're a runner and you want to get better, you have to know what you're trying to achieve. You need to know that I want to run a mile without stopping in X amount of time. So you've got to define the distance, 1 mile, and you've got to define the time. So now you know that if you're running a mile in 7 minutes, well, I want to get it down to 6. And then guess what? All of your training now has a goal. And guys, I feel like I've said the word goal 50 times already. And I feel to myself like it's almost this repetitive thing, like when your teachers just said the same things over and over when you were in 4th grade and like you just didn't care. And you were like, why do you keep saying this every day? And why do you say it multiple times a day? But all I can say is this. If I can take what's in here and what's in here and put it on a silver platter and hand it to you, this is it. If you're a runner, you've got to know that I want to run a mile and I want to run it in 6 minutes. And I'm at 7 right now. All of a sudden, all of your training is focused on how quickly can I get that mile. I did it in 6 minutes and 50 seconds today. So I shaved off 10 seconds. Now you're measuring progress. You're measuring progress. If you don't have any kind of a goal, you're just going to go outside and walk some and run some and sweat some. But are you really getting better? You just got to know if either it's a distance and a time or it's weight on the scale, something's got to be in place to know that you're making progress. And so now you can train towards losing weight or running a mile in 6 minutes or getting from 1 mile to 2 miles. And so today I made it to 1.25 miles before I had to stop for the first time, and just keep pushing tomorrow and the next day and the next day. It all brings clarity and color and vision and sight to what you're doing, and your training will take more form actually, because you're like, oh, I got to keep running. Your training is going to start to look like something that goes towards that target.
Yeah,
So that all makes sense. Greg, go ahead.
I want to chime in. Yeah, so one of the biggest things that's changed or increased my income was when I finally started tracking my income through a spreadsheet about 7 years ago now. And I think Tyler does this as well, because your emotions can be misleading. Some months you may feel like you've had a good month, but if you're not writing it down, you may realize once you start doing this that feeling like you made a lot of money and actually making a lot of money is two different things when you start tracking stuff. Because I've had months where I feel like I make a lot of money because I got one big payout or something. But actually compared to a previous month, I was actually behind. I was, made less than that previous month. With the previous month, maybe it wasn't this roller coaster of emotions. It was kind of a boring, slow month, but it actually made more than the previous month. And I would have known that if I wouldn't have started tracking. Because, actually the first month I started tracking my income, it was eye-opening because I was beating myself up prior to that, because I was like, oh, I'm not making, I don't have $1,000 a day screenshots to show like all these other internet marketers. But the reality was, once the very first month I started tracking my income, just from lots of little bitty one-off commissions here and there from like launch jacking through YouTube videos and stuff, I was already making more part-time passively through my internet efforts than I was getting paid for the entire month at my job from month one. And
Wow.
I just kept, still hard on myself. Like, oh, I don't have enough to walk away from my job. But like, it was just eye-opening that I could see it on the spreadsheet. This is how much I was bringing in. And I was already making more than my job. It took me another year or so to get the confidence to quit my job, because once I came to that conclusion of like, oh, I'm spending like 30-40 hours a week at a job. If I'm able to make $1,500 a month or $2,000 with the little hours I have left over, just imagine how much more money I could make if I had an extra 40 hours a week. And so that was what ultimately pushed me to quit my job, because I was like, it was a job that I didn't have to think too much at anyway. So I was like, they're only paying me, a couple, $14 an hour or so. That's before taxes. I know I'm smart enough with what I know already to replace that and be able to do that in less time than I'm spending at this job, because and then I could have the rest of my hours just to play or do what I want, because I was trying to, I had to be at a job for 8 hours, plus you got lunch and the commute. So that's about 10, 11 hours or so in a day. And so I've only got a couple hours left at the end of a day, and then you've got weekends and stuff. And that's all I had to work with. And I was like, man, it would be better if I could redirect my energy and spend my work day working for myself, and then the nights could be free. That would be amazing. And that's what I did eventually. But I wouldn't have known how close I was to being able to, financially quit my job and support myself if I didn't start tracking my income, because I was just under this impression that it was just, I wasn't making as much as I thought I was. And I was actually making more than what my job was paying me at the time, which was pretty eye-opening. So definitely setting goals, tracking stuff,
Yes.
measuring stuff can just help you accelerate your growth.
You know, just like tracking is the lifeblood of being an affiliate marketer, you know, it's also just in like your life and your business is just equally important. And you'll move faster and get to things faster when you really define it and say, like, I'm getting there. And now it's just a sprint to get there as fast as I can. If you don't have a finish line, you'll just kind of walk at a comfortable pace instead of really sprint and push yourself. And so guys, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I just am passionate about this. You know, when you set a goal, now you can measure progress. You can focus on that time or that weight that you want to get to. All your training, all your effort, and all your energy now is measured against that, and you'll improve until you reach it. So if you're just vague, if you just go out and kind of run, walk, sweat, do whatever over and over and over, you won't make progress nearly as fast. You know, Greg, I love when he says this. We made money online for years, and then we put together courses and coaching program and do one-on-one coaching. And a lot of times people reach out to us, hey, I'm interested maybe in some coaching. And what's your goals? I want to make more money. I want to make more money. And Greg says, it's like, how much more money? What, $100, $1,000 a month, a week, a day? Like, how much is more money? Like, is 1,000? Are you wanting to quit your job, or do you just want to make a few $100 a month extra for play money? I mean, when two people say I want to make more money, one person wants to become a billionaire and one person just wants some side income. So there's got to be definition all across the board. And if this is resonating with you guys, let us know, because I'm passionate about it. And I just really hope that it's resonating with you and you're like, I need to do this. I need to do this.
Yeah. I want to say this, like, a lot of people, they may think when they say things like, I want to make more money, they probably have this vision in their head. Again, it's probably not a clear number of just what they see on the internet or on TV. I want a mansion. I want a car. I want to be able to travel and stuff. And that's great to have those goals and stuff. If you actually do the math and figure out how much all those things cost just to have those experiences, what you're going to find is it's a lot less than you might think. But I think a great goal for most people starting out to looking to work for themselves or replace their job or whatever is just figure out, you take what you're already making at your job and make it your initial goal to replace that, because that's what you're already living off of. If you were able to replace that, which in my case at my last job, it was only like $1,200 a month, which is basically poverty, which is depressing. But why I'm saying that is if you had that coming in on autopilot each month, then you wouldn't have to be at the job anymore. And you could then use your time to make more than that, make double that. And so I think that's a great goal. Instead of focusing on like $1 million, because that's probably way far off from, you probably can't even wrap your head around what that would feel like, because you've never even made six figures. Though I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this are probably making less than that. Just focus on what you're already making and trying to either build up active streams of income or actively working towards building passive streams of income to replace that, because that's what you're already making your life work with. If you were able to just replace that, then you wouldn't have to go to a job every day. So I think that's a great goal for people to focus on, instead of beating themselves up because they're not on a private jet somewhere or can travel the world 365 days. Like, once you replace your active income with passive income and you have your time just to actually sit down and think, you're going to get some more and better ideas on how to increase your income exponentially at that point when you finally have your freedom and stuff. So I think that's an excellent goal for people to focus on, instead of, again, getting so hung up on what they think they need, because they don't have it right now. So if they could just replace what they have and just have their freedom, I mean, you can kind of piggyback off that of like, remember when you first came out and heard of Austin, Tyler, it was hard at first. You weren't making six figures initially, but you did from the get-go, you did have your freedom.
My freedom.
And that changed
all day, every day.
So when you had tough days, you could just go out of the house and go to the park. You can't do that at a job.
Nope. You just have to hang out in the break room until your boss comes and gets onto you for spending too much time in the break room. And oh man, so much I could say there, but I don't want to go down I want to say it, and then let's get to it, guys. Is this resonating with you? Please let us know. Please let us know. We love, love, love to hear from you. So yesterday I talked about a lesson from the Bible, and I told you guys that, I was in ministry for a decade, and I talked about how repentance, most people think repent would mean you just turn around and you go the other direction, 180 degrees. But it actually means like your thinking has to change, because then when your thinking changes, your actions change. Well, today I want to talk about a very, very simple concept from the Bible. The book of Proverbs in the Bible is just a book of wisdom. From a lot of it's from King Solomon, and then some of the books are from other people, just with all this collection and library of wisdom passed down through the generations and their own experiences. And there's a verse that says this: without vision, people perish. Here's the thing: without vision, without a goal, without a plan, you're just not going to make it. People don't make it when there's not a finish line to run towards. And so people just don't make it, and they don't get to the finish line without a vision, without a goal, without a plan. You're doomed to fail. And that's going to be true 99.9% of the time. And then someone will stand up and just, man, I accidentally found this thing that works super well. And it's just like, guess what? That's the exception and not the rule, by an absolute landslide, by an avalanche. And so without a vision, you're doomed to fail. You can be the best marksman or archer in the world, but if there's not even a target, then you can't do anything with it. Without a vision, you're not going to make it, guys. And I just say that because it's so important. Now, listen, this doesn't have to be scary at all. Let's flip the narrative here and make this positive and make this awesome and focus on the positive. Just take the time to make a plan, to set a goal, to figure some things out, to figure out where you want to be and when you want to be there, and then what it'll take to get there. Just do that. That's it. Focus on the positive in it. Focus on the plan, and it'll grow. This does not need to be paralyzing and paralytically fearful and oh my gosh, I'm he's saying all this stuff and I don't have a goal, and like I may not ever. Just take a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, guys, to make a plan. Take this urgency in what I'm saying and make a plan. How's the next year going to be different from you? How's 2021 going to be different from 2020 and every year before it? How's it going to be different? Figure that out. Write it down. Sit down, turn off the TV. Don't go log into the latest course that you bought. Don't even do, if you're an emailer or something, whatever things you do every day and trying to make it in this online world. Pause all of that and open up a blank document, set a goal, and make a plan. Give it a time frame. Give it a what and a how and a when and all those things. Just make a plan and then focus on it, and it'll grow. And focus on every good thing along the way. And all the stuff that's not working, don't focus on it. Don't go to bed and because you spent a couple of weeks trying something and it didn't work. Just focus on the next thing that's going to work. Focus on the plan, and it'll grow.
I think I want to say this too, and I think it's important not only to have a clear goal, but also to give yourself a deadline. Because if you don't give yourself a deadline, you're just going to drag your feet you're just like, well, eventually I'll get there. I mean, one lie I used to tell myself, because other people older than me would say this, is
that's so good.
When I'd complain about, I'm not where I want to be yet, they'd say, well, how old are you? And I'm like, 25. Oh, you got plenty of time. Oh, you got plenty of time. Well, when I became 30, I was like, I don't have plenty of time anymore. Because I can't keep saying I got 5 more years. I got 10 more years, because in 10 more years, I'm going to be 40. And I want to actually enjoy, having a good time and having fun while I'm still what I consider to be young, ideally in my 20s, but I kind of missed that because I was trying to work towards finding all these pieces. So at least I get to enjoy it in my 30s, but I didn't want to push that back all the way to 40s or 50s, and still be, just all the way to retirement. If I ever even made it that far of like, well, I'll just wait until retirement. A lot of people say that I'll just wait until retirement. And then they don't think that, oh, by retirement, I'm going to be a little older. I may not be as mobile as I was when I was young. So maybe if I'm lucky, I have enough money, but now I'm sick. I got all these pills to take with me on the trip and stuff, and I can't hike up the hills and stuff like it. Anyway, so set a goal, set a clear goal, and have a deadline, and give yourself time. So you want, don't set an unrealistic deadline. If you've never done this thing, give yourself a year. A year's not that much time. Give yourself a year, and based on how far you get during that timeline, you can kind of adjust accordingly and stuff. So you'll see how much progress you make actively working towards that goal in that time, and then going into the next year, you can adjust and say, okay, well, I made this much in this time, this much progress. Then now I kind of I can set a realistic benchmark for the next year and stuff. This is an ongoing journey. It's not like whenever you reach one goal, accomplish one goal, you're never going to be satisfied. I'm sure most of you have figured that out. When you make $10,000 a month, nothing happens. Like I remember, this is kind of another little tangent story. A couple of years ago, I was at this event about real estate and stuff, and the guy putting it on, he said he travels a lot. And I think he was like a Delta million mile member or something, just because he'd flown so much in the last 20 years. And when he was on his like flight that was going to push him over the edge of like 1,000,000 miles, he went up to the stewardess and was like, hey, this is my, millionth mile flight. And she was like, nice. I bet you thought something special was going to happen, didn't you? And he was like, yeah. And she's like, it doesn't.
Wow. It's so true. You go to bed that night and you wake up the next day and the world keeps spinning and the seasons keep changing and time keeps marching forward. And so guys, here's just a quick little thought here. Find that first bullseye and then just work backwards. In 1 year, I want to have made, at least a few $1,000s online and have something that's working by then. So that's your target. That's your goal. That's your time frame. Then reverse engineer and just walk back to today. What do I have to do? Well, I can put in a couple hours a day on the weekdays, and on the weekends, I need to be diligent to put in a few hours on Saturday and Sunday, and I need to learn a couple more things. And then, or I feel like maybe this course that I've got is going to work if I put in the time, and just focus on that. But now you've made a plan simply by reverse engineering, by going forward in time and then walking backwards to now. And so that's it. Vision.
I just want to say something real quick there too. And to achieve those goals, a lot of times it's going to require sacrifice. So don't think that you're going to be able to magically achieve all your, financial or fitness goals or whatever those goals are without sacrifice. If you're focused on this one thing, then that means you can't be focused on this other thing. So like if you love hanging out, drinking with your friends, and that's just a habit of yours, and you do that and you're spending money and time with all that, and that's been a habit for you in the past, you're going to have to cut some of that out of your life, at least for temporarily. And probably once you see the results that get you, probably going to continue to cut that out eventually. But, some of you that struggle with that, like, oh, I got to hang out with these friends and I got to spend this money here or whatever. It's going to require some sacrifice to achieve these goals and stuff. And the reason, those friends that you may be hanging out with now don't have those things that you want is because they're not putting the same sacrifice and stuff. So
let's be real for a minute, guys. Marketers make a living by polishing golden eggs and just selling push button systems. Guys, the nitty gritty of everyone successful is all the boring stuff that teachers said over and over in school that you just never. Nobody talks about discipline and sacrifice and consistency and goal setting. And when people do, it's almost easily dismissed because people just think that there's all these pretty shiny things out there and they're just facelifts on top of the same core thing. Somebody had to figure a bunch of crap out, and they had to sift through a bunch of other crap to get there. And they were disciplined. They were consistent. They worked hard. Nobody sells people on webinars with these things. They sell people on my simple 2-step formula that'll make you a millionaire in 90 days if you just do one thing a few times, blah, blah, blah. And when you get in there, it's really not that anyway. You end up like, you got to put in so much in. So we're just being real. This is not a webinar. This is Tyler and Greg being very, very real. And this is just the truth. I'm sorry if it's a letdown almost to hear it. And you just think, why aren't these successful marketers talking about how I can make 6 figures in the next 90 days? Well, there's a lot that's got to happen inside before anything even happens outside before you're going to make 6 figures in the next 90 days. Raw, real, truth. So that's who we are. That's what this is. And I think that's just fair enough, guys. So vision, I love that. Sacrifice, man. You just gotta, there's some hangs that you're just not going to be at. There's some activities, sports, events, concerts, all the stuff that people spend their money and their time doing. Well, if you don't go to the concert and you keep the time and you keep the price of the ticket and you put it into your business, it'll turn into more. So there you have it. And you just got a choice to make. Do it or don't.
Yeah, a lot of these, I mean, I'm sure everybody on this call has heard people, maybe they've even said this to other people they look up to and respect of like, man, I wish I could have what you have. I wish I could do what you do or whatever. And, you know, now that I've been on the other side of that and people have said that to me, I'm like, you can. Everybody can. Like, what I do is not really that special, but the discipline it takes in order to do it consistently, I guess that is somewhat special because not everybody has that discipline, but that's what's required.
Yep, it's what's required. It's what's required. That is the least sexy copy headline on earth. But you know what? All people are trying to do is take something unsexy and put enough makeup on it to make it look awesome. And then the truth is you just got to find something that works and you got to learn it and you got to do it and you got to stick with it. So vision is seeing. Vision is what you're looking at. Vision is what you're focused on. Vision is where you're going. And you absolutely must focus on your goal. Focus on all the positive things along the way to get there. Guys, never forget that. If you're feeling stuck, what are you focusing on? If you're feeling stagnant or stale, what are you focusing on? If you're wondering what's next, what are you focusing on? If you don't have or unsure of what all this currently is, please stop everything right now and drill into it. Look, stop going through courses. Stop taking action on what you know. And just to take the time to set a goal and then get started back. But now you have a target. I know this because I've lived it. In my notes here, I know in all caps this because I've lived in all caps this. I've lived with no goal, no frame, no color, no clarity, and I just can't stress it enough. So, and Greg said this, like in his journey before, he's just felt that he didn't know enough or he wasn't smart enough. And he shared a story about this yesterday when he met people who clearly knew less than him. They were just taking all of their action and they were all in on what they did know, and it was working. Chasing other people's results. Greg's mentioned all of this already, but I just want to reiterate it because it's so important. Just both of us became successful in a relatively short amount of time, months instead of years when it comes to a career, when we just doubled down on what we knew and what was working and making us some money, and we did more of it. We didn't have to figure out anything new or learn anything new. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel. We found a wheel that was a perfectly good wheel, and it spun really well, and it was a nice circle, and it did what a wheel's supposed to do, and we just did it. That's it. So I'm skipping down a little bit. A lot of you in this group have your thing, and then a lot of you don't. So just sit down and figure it out. Figure out your goals first, and then find the what. So, let me just – cool. I saw a comment pop up. So what's up? Welcome. So listen to what we have to say today, guys. Set a goal that you can focus on wholeheartedly, that you can be all in on. Have an all in mindset. I'm going to make a banner for that for just a minute. Have an all in mindset, something that you can wholeheartedly do before you start taking any more action, because your action's going to go in the right direction when you're focused on a goal, when there's a finish line. And when you focus on that, it will grow. So that's what really makes the law of attraction make sense. That's not very, when you really think about it, that's kind of logical and not so ethereal and spiritual and just like, oh, it really makes logical sense that what you focus on grows, because what you focus on just dictates what you put your hands and your feet and your time and your money and your mouth and your action towards anyway. It's kind of logical. So if you water a plant and give it sunlight, it'll grow. Like, that kind of just makes sense. So that's exactly what you do with these things. You focus on them, you nurture them, you give them sunlight and water. And again, it's like gravity. Gravity is just a law. It doesn't not apply to anyone or apply to anyone more than another person. It's just the way it is. So let me know if I'm crazy or if this makes sense to you in the comments. We'd love to hear that. And we're going to move on. So we're talking about an abundance mindset. And in talking about that, we've got to deal with a very big enemy of abundance mindset: scarcity. In talking about an abundance mindset, we have to deal with the lie of scarcity, because scarcity will paralyze you. It'll turn on your flight instinct and fight or flight, and you'll run away out of fear instead of press forward with grit and fight, and it will ensure that you fail. So let's deal with a couple of myths in the scarcity mindset realm. And Greg, I love it. The dirty little secret of marketers. We've already hit on it. Just that. Oh yeah, no. We've talked about how this one secret of marketers is just putting a facelift on all the stuff we don't want to talk about, which is just, you got to learn something and you've got to do it and you've got to stick with it. But Greg, talk about how marketers use scarcity to sell.
Oh yeah, and we've got an illustration to kind of go along with this in a minute. But yeah, just, marketers use scarcity to sell products, timers, things. This is going away. Limited time offer. You're never going to see this again, or whatever. Let me know in the comments if that resonates with you. If the offers you purchased in the past, if that I'm sure you've seen that, but that always bugged me. Let me know if that bugs you in the comments and stuff, of just because I never considered myself somebody that was good at sales or good at implementing stuff quickly. So that always, it didn't just frustrate me because I was like, oh, I'm gonna, I feel like they're twisting my arm to buy this product, but I'm not confident that I'll be able to implement it quickly enough before this loophole goes away. And that really frustrated me, because I was like, I do want to make a lot of money, but the farther I went down this internet marketing rabbit hole, I wanted to find something that was simple, that was sustainable, that was more evergreen, because I didn't want to, it's exhausting to keep jumping from opportunity to opportunity. For those of you that have ever been in MLMs or network marketing, man, it's so exhausting. Me and Tyler have been in a couple, and then we just got burnt out like most of the people. It's just the same game over and over again. You see that even with the big leaders that supposedly make a lot of money, they jump ship continuously, like every 2 years and stuff. So yeah, but that's a little bit about scarcity and stuff. So that kind of, and how that ties into The Secret, if anybody has ever watched that movie or read the book, what kind of bugged me is, like, I knew the universe was abundant. I knew there's enough resources out there for all of us. Like, anybody that's in the US, I'm sure they do this in other countries too, but like in the US, they just keep printing more money, pulling $1 trillion out of nowhere. Again, it's like they're already, $1 trillion. No one's ever seen that. It's already infinity. And then overnight they can just print $7 trillion more dollars, like 7 times infinity. Great. Like more, this is impossible. But like, I do believe that there's enough resources on the planet for all of us, but a lot of the other methods out there, that I've learned over the years, there seemed to be competition, and like there was a finite amount of dollars I could make in that space. And that always bugged me until I found what we do now, what we teach others. But I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And if you want to
do it, man, dive right in, y'all. This is a powerful illustration of Greg's about the myth of competition. What do I need to do, Greg, to get it up for you?
Just click the other little, just let me know when we're live or whatever.
I've got it selected. You just need to add your screen to the stream.
Oh, my bad.
I've got the right thing selected. Cool. Yeah, we use StreamYard, guys, and so we can share our screen and all this cool stuff. It's awesome. Yes, y'all. This is a powerful illustration. You're good to go, man.
Cool. So this is what I call your true competition. And I don't know how this came to me. It just did a couple of years ago, and I'm thankful that it did. So ever since I sketched this out, it just made and this combined with what we're going to introduce you guys to at the end of this week with this new program we put together. Because it's one thing to have, things like The Secret and that talk about law of attraction and abundance, and that's all great and stuff. But if you can't tie that to an abundant process, or your mind doesn't believe that you actually don't really have any competition, then you're probably just going to be paralyzed and not take any action. So this is an illustration I like to call your true competition. So there's, just start here. We've got a circle that represents the whole world. So I was reading a book the other day, and in a previous video, the last time we said this, I thought it was like 3 or 4 billion people on the planet, but I think it's like 6 billion or something on the planet. But there's a lot of people on the planet. So this circle represents all the people on the planet. And I always thought, since, when I was starting to learn how to make money online, that since I wanted to do that, and it seemed pretty competitive to me in this space, that because of that, I thought everybody also wanted to make money online or work for themselves or start their own business. I just assumed that surely everybody wanted this too. So that was extremely competitive, which is not true at all. And so as we go down here, so we got the whole world. And then if we kind of niche down here, the next circle over, this is like all the people on the entire planet. This represents all the people on the planet that just want to, either have their own business or want their own business, or entrepreneurial, or want to make money online or offline. Like this is all of them. So we take all, the billions of people on the planet, and all those people combined that, have some interest in working for themselves and don't want to be an employee the rest of their lives. This is all of them combined. And so that number to start out with, this is where your quote competition actually starts. It's ridiculously small, so it weeds out most people. Then from there, you've got people. There's a couple different directions we can go with this, but basically, from that, these are the people that like want to work for themselves or are already doing it. From that, we've got this next group of people that actually take some action. There's a lot of people that are talkers out there. I'm sure people that talk a lot and they don't do anything. They say, they're interested in cars or whatever, that they've never bought a magazine or read a book, or they don't own a car or whatever, exotic car or whatever. They don't take courses on that thing. They just talk about what they want to do. So most people don't even take action. So that weeds out a whole lot of other people. So these are the people that just take action. And most of those people never get past that point. Maybe they do buy a course, maybe they do read a book, and they don't really do anything with it. They're just like, yeah, I've read The Secret. I've read, Think and Grow Rich. I've read that, and like, okay, but they don't get much farther than that. And from there, we got people that, they've taken some action, and they've, they push through some of the school of hard knocks and trial and errors that everybody's going to face, and they stick with it. And because most of the people, again, they're not going to get past like trying one thing and failing and giving up, because there's like, oh, that one business opportunity failed. That means that everything and life is a scam. And I guess I'll just go back to that, my safe, comfortable job, even though it's not safe or comfortable or whatever for most people. So that weeds out most people. And then we keep going down and it gets smaller and smaller. So like this is kind of where it starts to get into like your kind of actual competition. So like with what me and Tyler mainly focused on with affiliate marketing, SEO, these are the people that, again, just kind of going back here, this is the world, the biggest circle. These are the people that are interested in just like working for themselves, owning a business, period. These are the people, the next circle over, these are the people that have started down that journey, taken some action. And these people are the folks that just kind of push through. And, you know, maybe they bought 2 courses, maybe they read 3 books, you know, maybe they've been to 1 live event. And then from there, we've got of those people, those kind of split into different areas, you know, that everybody doesn't want to make money the same way. So these are the people that have made it through all of these hoops and stuff, and they're interested in the same thing that we are interested in, maybe affiliate marketing or affiliate marketing and SEO, if you want to combine those two. And then like right down here is our kind of starts to be our actual competition. These are the people that are interested in doing, or maybe they are doing what we're doing, affiliate marketing, SEO, and they're maybe doing, you know, there's a million different ways to do SEO, but maybe they're doing the same thing that we're doing, and they're actually promoting like the same product the same way. So let me know if that kind of clicks or resonates for you. Once I don't know how this just came to me one day, but a couple of years ago, I just thought about this and I was like, oh, like I'm a visual person, so I like to see illustrations and analogies and stories. So when I actually drew this out, I was like, this is actually, this lines up with my experience in life, because I thought that make money online space and just the number of people that wanted to work for themselves, I thought that audience was so large, and it's actually the opposite. Most people don't want to do that because there's this idea of like risk and, again, competition and failure. I don't know how Tyler's parents are, but I know my dad, to this day, he always asks me, just kind of out of fear of like, how do you set up a business? How do you pay taxes? I'm like, I don't know. I have an accountant. He handles all that. I still have those same fears too. I just don't worry about it as much because I've got an awesome accountant. So I just, you know, and after talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, I asked them that same question. They're like, we don't know anything about taxes either. We just have an awesome accountant. So like, you don't have to be an expert at everything, nope. But hopefully this illustrates to you just how ridiculously small your competition is. And, you know, we do SEO and stuff, but like if you're into drop shipping or ebooks or whatever, this same principle applies. Yeah, this right here is what you're so afraid of right here. And this number is so small that if you make it to this point right here where you're publishing ebooks, Kindle books on a regular basis, publishing Udemy courses on a regular basis, publishing aggressively products to the ClickBank marketplace, or you've got a lot of funnels out there, whatever, there's a very good chance that you're going to know all of your competition probably on a first name basis because there's so few of you. And it's not competition like we're taught and trained. Like the one example I use is, you know, I'm a dream car winner, but all the other dream car winners that achieved it similarly to me, we're all friends. And I don't see any of them as my like quote competition, because there isn't much overlap. Like they've got their own audiences, they've got their own angles of how they achieved it. So we're not like fighting each other. There's just so much abundance out there, and there's just so few of us that are doing this stuff. So hopefully that all makes sense, but that's kind of the illustration I used to debunk this myth, this lie that we're sold out there of competition. I know this illustration probably won't sell too many courses, but this isn't a mass market kind of message that we're trying to
Nah.
deliver here. This isn't for everybody, because most people, they, even when they see this, like, oh, cool, that's a great illustration, then they just go back to being scared, or they're, you know, living their life or whatever. Like, it's not for everybody, but for those of you that want, you know, more out of life and stuff, this should make this pretty clear that all that fear and all that scarcity is just a lie. It's just a myth to get you to buy stuff. And I know the missing piece here is, well, that's all great. Now I understand, you know, law of attraction, abundance. You give me a cool illustration. The only thing you're missing is an abundant process. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in future videos. But we've got all the pieces, you know, we've collected all the pieces to make all these little philosophies and stuff that we're sharing work. We're not just, you know, sharing all this stuff with you and get you all pumped up and then like, well, we don't have a solution either. Yeah,
Right.
we've got a solution that is ridiculously scalable and doesn't have any competition in that process. But like when you combine that infinite process with what I just showed you here, where like basically your competition is yourself, and it's either you take action or you don't take action. If you do take action, you get results. If you don't take action, nothing happens. But it's not like you're competing, or that Tyler or one of our other friends is taking away from our results. Nope. For anything that we decide to go after.
Yep.
Here's another illustration. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yeah, you're good, man.
So here's another illustration I used to use of the difference between two pies. So Tyler's mom's a math teacher, and Tyler's kind of good with numbers and math too. So this will make sense. So we've got, you know, two pies. A lot of times we're familiar with like pie charts and stuff. We've got like, you know, like if we tied this to affiliate marketing, it would be like, well, you know, let's just say it's ClickFunnels or something. And like, this is Greg Taff, and, you know, Tyler's doing the same thing, so he gets a little bit, but nobody gets the whole pie. You know, we all just sharing this same 100% here, and you know, maybe that's Spencer, even though those should be reversed. Spencer probably has this, but we got our friend. And, you know, but like, this is how most people think of any program. They're like, oh, there's only a finite amount of dollars that can be made. And like, Greg's already making most of them. So since he's a dream car winner and he did it mostly with SEO, there is no more dollars to make with SEO promoting ClickFunnels. And I can't tell you how many people have taken my course, implemented something that they've learned, and they've also made, you know, earned the dream car and made over 6 figures in commission. So we've got two different pies. That's the pie charts. But then we've also got the math pie. This pie is infinity, you know, 3.14, you know, forever, whatever. You know, so this is kind of the realm that we operate in here. This is scarcity pie. This is infinite pie. And that's our process. Is more infinite and stuff. So
it's so true. Y'all, everything that Greg is saying is so true. We all, you know, we're very transparent. We've all done so well with ClickFunnels, and then other people pop up, and then they're like, yeah, you know, they join our program or our coaching, and they're like, I want to try ClickFunnels. I'm always like, okay, maybe. I mean, a lot of people do that. And then they're like, I built a site, and like, I got some trials and people, and you're just like, really? Wow. Because it's mind blowing how abundant.
Yeah. It's pretty,
it's mind blowing.
It's almost hypey. When we kind of have to water it down, because the more you start to understand it and see it and experience it, it's hard to believe. That's why we're just sort of like real calm. And again, we kind of just water it down. But like, man, we could present this in a super hypey way, but we just have a ridiculously abundant, just think of like, you can't even wrap your head around it, but there's an infinite amount of money. Again, just what the governments do of just printing not even print it, because I don't even think you can print that. They just put it in bank accounts because it's too much. But like they create infinity anytime they want. And so that the government can do it, we can do it as well. There's just that many. I mean, knowing that there are 1 billion people on the planet, I don't know how many of those have access to internet. Let's just say like 1 billion, maybe, even though I think it's way less than that. But let's just say it's 1 billion. Well, that's, if you could make $1 a day minimum off those people, that would be at least $1 billion a day. It's 365 billion in a year. And so that's got to be possible, right? Because we gotta buy stuff to live each day. So there's a lot of money out there to be made, and luckily we have an abundant process that not only abundant but it's doesn't have the scarcity and competition associated with other marketplaces like the Facebooks and stuff and the Googles. Yeah, there's a lot of traffic. But if Tyler and I both want the same traffic, price is going to go up, So, and anyway, so we can go back to the presentation, but I just want to.
Man, it's so good. It's so good. We could literally just be like, well, now you know that, scarcity is a lie, but I'm going to fly through some notes here, guys. We're coming up on the hour mark. We wanted to keep each video to an hour, but like, that's just asking too much. I've got some things I want to say, and whether you're live or catching on the replay, we're so glad you're here. And I hope that illustration impacts you as much as it impacted me. So let me find here we go. Where is it? There we go. Scarcity is being afraid of that biggest circle. Scarcity is giving people power over you who don't even care and won't ever take any action. It's a lie that everybody's been sold. There's always more. We've seen this time and time again. Scarcity will always paralyze you with fear. It'll cause you to never take action. Think about this. These stand in contrast to scarcity. How many different restaurants are there and people eat at all of them? How many different brands are there with the same kind of products? And yet they're all on the store shelves. They all sell every single day. How many banks are there? We have a little joke in here. We talked yesterday about how we're from a small town in Mississippi. And every time they break ground on a new building, it's like, oh, what are they putting up there? It's just another branch of a bank. There's like little bank branches everywhere. In our small town of 20,000 people in Mississippi, there are, I don't know how many. There's several banks in town, and they all have multiple branches in town. And it's a small town. It's just mind-blowing. People use them all. Dollar General, there are 4 or 5 in our town of 20-something thousand people in Mississippi, and people shop at all of them. There's multiple car washes. People use all of them. I always make the joke about a Starbucks across from a Starbucks, around the corner from a Starbucks, next to a CVS with a Starbucks inside. It's so true. And there's people standing in line at every single one of them to get a cup of coffee or a latte or whatever. How many different soft drinks, beers, wines, liquors, clothes, household items, name brand items, generic items? How many products are on Amazon that just do the same thing, and they all sell? People just look and I'm going to buy this one. The same person looking for the same thing. I'm going to buy this one. All of these stand in contrast to scarcity. There's always people who prefer a certain brand, always people who are looking for a certain product. So this is the myth of competition right here, that if somebody else is already promoting this product or selling this product or making this product, then there's no way that I can get started right now. It's ridiculous. If that were true, then we wouldn't be here. We would be talking to you. We'd be at a job because our online journey would have come to a halt. We've never been the first people or the only people promoting anything.
I can't tell you how many times, my students in the past, I'll give out a lot of ideas and suggestions and angles for how to make money with the processes we do. I just give them out for free because there's so many, and I know most people aren't going to do anything. But the people that wind up actually doing stuff, they're like, "Whoa, Like I literally did exactly what you said and promoted the product you said exactly how you did. And I made sales. Like I didn't think this was possible. And like told you. And like if you do all the other products I recommend, these aren't just like suggestions or ideas. The only ideas I throw out are ones I know will work based on them either working for me or based on just other data and experience that I have that tell me that that product will sell. And so these suggestions that I throw out for free, they all make money. And the people that actually implement them know that. Like, I mean, we've seen it in the groups that we're in for associated with our courses and stuff. People, these ideas that I give people, they'll be like, "Oh, I did that idea that Greg said," and like, look, this is my commission. Happens all the time, just because there's
All the
so
time.
much.
I can't remember who I had a conversation with the other day that was like, "Yeah, Greg made a video about something, something," and I was like, "I'm gonna try that," and it worked. It's unreal. It's unreal. So here's some truths to combat scarcity. I looks like my camera's a little bit out of my camera does that. I'm sorry. Some truths to combat scarcity. You can always get started. There's always room for you. There's always new products. There's always a new audience to tap into. There's always new searches. 50% of searches on Google every single day are new searches, and nobody will ever catch up to that. You know, when you think about people that search for things from the past decades, they just search for all these things that already exist, and yet every day, half the searches on Google are brand new searches to Google. Unbelievable.
Can
Mind-blowingly abundant. And then
I just want to highlight a couple of those things. Like, you know, Tyler and I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. So like Ninja Turtles, I just typed in Ninja Turtles the other day from this keyword tool that we use to get keywords. Over 100,000 keywords for Ninja Turtles. That's a lot. And, you know, we talked about, we've talked about before of, you know, we were around when Pokemon first came out. It's not something we think about anymore, but Tyler brought it to my attention the other day that he was like, guess what? Do you know what game is like the highest, whatever grossing game of all time in the world?
Franchise in the world.
And I was like, I don't know, Mario. He's like, nope, Pokemon.
That was literally 7th grade for us. The cards and the original red and blue version and yellow version and blah, blah. And then it just kind of like we moved on. And that was 20 something years ago. And that is the most valuable game franchise in the world. And it's not even on my radar. It's not even like I don't even think about it. And yet it's out there and it's a billion-dollar brand.
Yeah. So just think of all those other things that you may have forgotten. You're like, well, I haven't searched for that movie or that actor since the 90s. Trust me when I say there's hundreds of thousands of people that every day are searching for like Pamela Anderson, whatever, or the cast from Saved by the Bell. They don't stop searching just because you forgot about it, you know?
Yep. It's all there. And Google is like this living catalog of it's unreal. Guys, it's not a zero-sum game. The pie is infinite. You can carve out a piece for yourself. There's still infinity left for everyone else. So, guys, we just want to drive that home. The world is full of businesses of all kinds. They're all doing business every day. They're not all brand new ideas. Some are just groceries and stuff and gas and quick stops and the stuff we need. Like it's not, you don't have to go open something no one's ever heard of before to make money. You can go open a quick stop gas station and you will be in business the day that you open. People will be filling up and coming in and getting sodas and candy bars and whatnot. It's chips. It's going to happen. So the myth of scarcity now. So that was the myth of competition. And now we're going to talk about the myth of scarcity. And I'm going to pop a banner up here for that. It always stands in contrast to abundance. The whole world and the whole universe around us are abundant. Like we created the idea of scarcity. And it's a great thing for people to sell products. So there's always that factor. Nature reflects abundance. Our sun, they say it's billions of years old, and yet it's still over 99% of what it was originally left. That's infinite. I mean, that's infinite. If it's been billions of years and we're still at 99.9% of the sun left, it's unbelievable. You know, my son's into the stars and planets and stuff right now. So there's like a planet that's 100 times the size of Saturn. There's a hyper giant sun out there that would hold like 1 billion of our sun. And our sun would hold like tens of thousands of Earths and like thousands of Jupiters. Or I think our sun would hold like a couple million Earths and like thousands of Jupiters. And Jupiter holds 1,300 Earths. Stupidly abundant, incomprehensibly abundant. We can't even think about 1,300 of our planet and another planet, and then thousands of that planet goes in another. Ridiculous.
I heard there's I don't know the name of it. I think it's just a bunch of numbers and letters, but I heard there was a planet out there that's the whole planet is just a diamonds. It's just a diamond. And so like on this planet, we've been conditioned to believe that diamonds are worth a lot. And I'm pretty sure that planet is probably bigger than Earth too. And the whole freaking planet is a diamond. And so just, there's a lot of abundance out there.
So much abundance. The Earth is a very abundant place. I saw this statistic a long time ago that if you took the whole population of the Earth and just put us shoulder to shoulder and chest to back, we would fit in like Delaware. One of the smallest states in the United States could hold everyone on planet Earth. We're so spread out. There's areas with nothing. We're from Mississippi. Trust me, there's a lot of nothing. There's a lot of trees and grass and pine needles on the ground. There's just land. There's just nothing. There's 100 cows on 100 acres. There's the earth is abundant. A friend of mine was driving through Mississippi. He's from Oregon and he lives here in Texas. He's a good friend. He's like, I drove through Mississippi once and I was just blown away that like it was just trees. You're just on the highway and it's just trees and you just drive for 3 hours and you've hardly seen anything. And it's just like, I know it. The earth is an abundant place, y'all. The earth is an abundant place. I'm kind of moving quickly through our notes here. There's cities where people are stacked on top of people, but then there's just whole areas of that as big as that city of nothing. So,
but then there's West Texas. It's just a whole bunch of nothing.
So we've already hit on this. This comes from yesterday about, we said yesterday that we were going to have an illustration about how money is infinite, time is finite. And we're going to talk about that right now because this is up there with Greg's illustration earlier of just how powerful. Oh my gosh. Money is infinite. They can print more of it. Greg's already talked about that at length, so I'm not going to. Time's finite. You spend time, you don't get it back. Money can be created from nothing, but more time cannot be created. I can't just create another decade or 100 years on my life. It's just not going to happen.
I want to say this. I'll probably won't say this perfectly, but one of my marketing acquaintances, his name's Travis Sago, is amazing marketer, copywriter. The other day I screenshotted something he said, and he said basically with the comparison of money and time and stuff, he's like, you want to take the finite, the infinite resource, which is money, and to buy the finite resource, not the other way around, because the math just doesn't work out on time. You've got a finite amount of hours, and what a lot of people are doing out there, they're trading that finite resource for this, which is infinite. We can make as much or print as much of this as we want, but so we need to find a way to build, create leverage for ourselves, and then use this. We can buy other people's time the more of this we have, but you can't create more of your own time and stuff. So that's eventually going to run out. So that's kind of how you need to treat and approach.
Man, I'm excited because I know this quote that I'm about to share. That's just a bombshell. It's so good. So money can be created, time cannot. This is a quote from a friend of ours, Gallant Dill. He's an amazing entrepreneur. He said, most people spend time to save money when they should be spending money to save time. In other words, you need to use money to save time. Most people come into this and they don't have money. So they want to put in all the time and hard work and elbow grease. But eventually, as soon as you've got some cash flow, you need to use money to save time. Use money to buy a course to learn something in 2 hours instead of trying to figure it out for 2 years.
Yeah.
Most people want to use their limited, finite resource of time to save money, which can be printed and more can be made, instead of using the infinite resource to save the precious, limited, finite resource of their time. And I'm just going to let that land for a minute, because that is powerful. As soon as you are making money, you need to immediately start looking at how you can use your money to save your time, and just buy someone's time to work for you, or buy an expert's time to teach you something in a day, so that you don't have to go spin your wheels and waste all of your time trying to figure that out for the next 2 years. I'm going to read it one more time. Most people spend time to save money, when they should be spending money to save time. And to give credit to that quote, that's Gallant Deal. Amazing guy. Go follow him on Facebook. He's been posting like every day the last couple weeks, and it's been fire. He's awesome. So let me get my bearings here. You know, Greg uses this illustration of how his dad drives 40 minutes from our hometown to a military base to get a $10 haircut. But that's like 40, 80, that's over an hour, almost an hour and a half on the road. You know what? To me now, it's worth it to drive 5 minutes and get my hair cut for 20 or 25, 30 bucks, get home in 5 minutes and get back to work. It's worth it. The time savings are worth the money expenses. Does that make sense? And then just take that. I'm not even going to try to give other examples. Go and apply that to anything. Go and apply that to cheaper to get on a plane and fly there, stay in a hotel for a couple of nights and fly back, than it is to try to drive a couple of days to get there and sleep in a car. It's just, the money spent is worth the time saved. And I can't drive that home enough. And so, to give you a resource about time, this book, we gave you a resource yesterday, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. Here's a resource if this is resonating with you, which if it is, let us know in the comments. Hey, that time thing really landed for me. It hit home. The No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs book by, gosh, I didn't put the author down.
Dan Kennedy.
I have it right here. Maybe I'll grab it before we pop off and hold it up here for you to see the cover. So good, by Dan Kennedy. One resource in it is calculating the real value of your time, which I'm
pretty sure that's literally at page 2 or something, or it's like chapter 1, and it's an extremely important metric for you guys to figure out. I'm sure you've heard that before, like you got to value your time, blah blah, but no one's ever given you an equation to calculate that. And once you go through that exercise that Dan will give you the formula for, and you calculate conservatively even what your true time is worth per hour. Once you see that number, and you've got the formula for how to calculate that, you're never going to see your time the same again, because you're going like, wow, this is the true value of my time. So, if you've ever had any hangups in the past over like, well, I don't know if I could charge $50 an hour or $100 an hour, I can pretty much guarantee you every single person that goes through that exercise, your time is going to be worth probably $300, $400, $500, $600 an hour once you go through that. Once you plug it into that formula, and once you see that, like we're trying to compare our specialized information, knowledge, whatever that we have, to working at a 9-to-5 job that pays us $14 an hour, but we're not thinking of it in the sense that we're the stuff that I do, Tyler does, that that we teach to others, that is extremely specialized information. It's no different than going to a specialist doctor who's going to charge you ridiculously more money than a nurse practitioner or generalist specialist or general whatever practitioner or whatever. The specialist is always going to charge you more money, and that's what we have. We're not teaching you whatever the fundamentals of finance or whatever that you can learn in whatever in a book or college or whatever. Like, you can't learn this stuff anywhere. And so anyways, I'm sure you have your own specialized information that you've learned and acquired over the years, and that equation that you're going to find in that book is going to shed some light on how much your time is actually worth, or how much value should be associated with your time because, you know, you only have a finite amount, and out of the 24 hours in a day, you can't work 24 hours. That's not sustainable. So you only have like about 8 or 10 hours of actionable, you know, hours that you can actually allocate towards, you know, trading that for money and stuff. So that number is going to be a lot higher than a lot of you think. And once you realize what that is, I think you're going to start to value your time a lot more. So when people are like, hey, can you just like can you go to lunch with me? You know, I'll pay for lunch. You know, like, well, lunch is $10. My time is $200 an hour. So you're gonna have to buy lunch and pay me $200. So
Truth. It's true, man. Guys, going to keep moving. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes almost, and we're going to try to wrap this up. But at the same time, I don't want to rob us or you of what we have to say. It's good stuff. Success mindset. Here's some thinking that will get you there. Being good at one thing. So think about this. I use this example a lot. Let's take someone who's good at 3 things, and they can make $10K a month at each of those things. But let's compare that to somebody who's great at one thing and can make $100K a month doing that thing. Well, $100K a month is a lot better than $30K a month. In fact, it's over 3 times better, mathematically speaking alone. So I love the illustration of Bruce Lee that he said, I'm more scared the guy that's practiced one move 10,000 times than somebody that's practiced, you know, all the moves, all 10,000 moves one time each. There's a lot more power in being good at the one thing, because you might actually be able to beat like a Bruce Lee or the best in the world, because like, man, there's one move that like I'm gonna get it in there and you're gonna feel it and you're gonna hurt, and like I might win. Like, you're Bruce Lee, but like I'm really good at one thing, and it's gonna be hard to guard against it. I perfected it.
We have a lot of examples around this, but I just remembered one. She's not as popular as she used to be, but Ronda Rousey. She rose to fame several years ago, and she was only good at like 1 or 2 moves, and she did those moves really well, and she was able to take down her opponents in like 30 seconds sometimes. But shortly after that, when she got matched up with somebody who was good at kickboxing, Holly Holmes, I think, she just destroyed her because she wasn't used to defending herself against those attacks. And, you know, that just proves you can go all the way to the top with just like 1 or 2 little moves that you do really well.
Yep. That's powerful, guys. That is absolutely powerful. You know, I don't really cuss, but I'm going to quote Ron Swanson, the great Ron Swanson from the show Parks and Recreation. Never half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1. Because there's a lot more value in the one thing than there are in the part of 2 different things. And another example of this is just Henry Ford. And I'll abbreviate the story quickly. He was in court being questioned about a lot of things. His answer to almost everything was, I don't know. The judge looks at him and says, how do you not know? And he's like, I don't deal with it. I have a button on my desk for the person that deals with that. There's an expert on the other end of every button on my desk. So when someone asks a question about the financials for Ford Motor Co., boom, hey, what's going on with financials? When someone needs to know about operations, boom, operations. Like, I don't know. I live in this sphere, and you're asking me all this stuff. I've got people for that. I don't do it. Powerful, being really good at one thing. When you have money, you'll start to realize how much you're worth, guys. When you have passive income, your time's worth at least that. If you could spend a day building a site that will earn several $100s a month for the next few years, then that day is worth thousands of dollars, because you got to add up what all that's worth. So let's keep moving, guys. You've got to have an all-in mindset. You've got to believe in yourself 100%. You've got to believe in the process 100%. You need to focus in on one thing, and you don't stop until you get it, until it works, until you make it work, until you see it happen. You've got to set a goal to make like $1,000 a month, and then your goals just grow from there. You keep finding products, you keep building. If you're doing our method, which we're going to share that in a couple more days with you, we want to share a ton of value with you, but of course we want to invite you to do specifically what we do, because it's infinite, and it meets simple, sustainable, scalable yesterday that we talked about and all that stuff. But let's keep moving. So from there, you just keep defining goals. I want to make 1K a month from 5 different things, 10 different things. One strategy applied to create multiple income streams. So in doing this, guys, you've got to forget about some things that are outside fair. Forget about Mr. Dropshipper guy, Mr. Ecom guy, the next person that raises their hand and says, breaks out of nowhere and says, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, cool, but I'm going to do my thing and I'm going to be you in a few months. Quit worrying about people. People will bombard you with their products, their services, their blueprints, their thing. You just got to do you. You got to find it, focus on one thing and do it. Some wisdom. Warren Buffett, always have at least 2 streams of income. If your income is made up of 2 things, then when you lose one, you don't lose it all. Man, that is powerful. And oh my gosh, man, we could talk about so many of these things for a whole life. But if you have 2 streams of income and you lose one, the remaining one pays the rent and the bills. Maybe you got to put groceries on the credit card, but you're not at rock bottom. Another Warren Buffett quote: if you don't learn to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. You've got to learn to create passive income. And again, that's what we do. That ticks the boxes for us. We're doing this live, but we are making money today and every day, every hour of every day. Commissions, sales, things like that. It's very important. And even when you think about passive income, that's what traditional retirement is at a job. It's just building that up over 30 years with contributions and with growth from the stock market until it can pay you a monthly check and you don't have to work. You've got passive income now. That's all retirement is. You're retired when you've got passive income. In a sense, I'm retired now because I can choose to not work any day that I feel like it and live my life and still be fine, still make money. Anyway, very powerful stuff. You got to kill shiny object syndrome right now, guys. Forget about Mr. Ecom and Mr. Dropshipper. You got to find something and you got to stick with it and not be pulled to every little thing every time someone raises their hand and says, like, hey, I'm making money. I've got my new system process. Nobody else out there is teaching this. It's like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you're searching, trying to find these things, but once you have something that works, like I have said no to a lot of things in the last couple of years. I've said no to ecom when that came around because I was already so far along with what I was doing and getting enough results with SEO. So I saw that the drop ship phase, and I was tempted by it too because some of those screenshots are very tempting and stuff. But I was like, I know the truth behind those screenshots, and not everybody's going to get results like that. And the people I talk to at these live events, you learn a lot of the truth when you go to those live events. I'd run into the people that were doing drop shipping and selling these drop shipping courses, and they'd all, when we'd exchange, what each of us was doing, and they learned what I do, like, oh man, I wish I had your life. Like I fucking hate drop shipping, and like I'm trying to get out of it. Like everybody that I ran into is like, I don't like drop shipping at all, but like whatever, it's just something I got to do or whatever. But they would all be envious of what I was doing because that it produced the result that they were ultimately chasing, which was the passive income.
That's it, man. That's it. So 100%. So guys, I'm going to just kind of round everything out here and finish it up pretty quickly. I'm going to give you, this is a quote, if you will, from me, but I guess if I'm saying it, it's just Tyler talking. If you say it, what Tyler said, it's a quote. Pick one thing and do it until it works. Then keep doing it until it works better. Then keep doing it until you're doing it better than anyone else. It's working for you better than it's working for anyone else. That's what you got to do. Once you've got something that's working and that you understand, you've got to spend all your time and money scaling that one thing. All of your time, all your money, all your headspace and your mental energy. If you're just too spread out, you're never going to get anywhere. And so, Greg,
if we want to tie this all into another biblical illustration, you could say this better than me, but this is the pearl. This is the pearl that the rich man traded all of his assets for to buy this. Or whatever thing that you're doing, whatever you know the most about, focus on that and just forget everything else.
Focus on that and forget everything else. So guys, today was a success and abundance mindset. All this stuff will frame you for success. And in dealing with abundance, we've dealt with the lie and the myth of scarcity and competition. We've talked about so many little nuggets along the way. We really hope that you took a lot away from this today. Please, 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 you that are live now, And you guys that tune in on the replay, drop your biggest takeaway from today. Let us know what resonated with you. It's so easy to watch this and not go and drop something in the comments, but we are encouraged when we hear from you because we want to help you. This week is all about value. This week is all about sharing. This week is all about us being raw and real with you guys. So we just really want to hear from you. And Greg, you can obviously tell I'm really kind of wrapping it up because of time. But if there's anything you'd like to say before we do, I certainly don't want to cut that off. But
I don't really have much to add. We've got a lot of stuff that we are just gonna cut out of this one, I guess, just because of time. And we appreciate you guys spending an hour and a half with us, but we want to be respectful of everyone here that showed up live and also people that are watching the replay and stuff. But we've got a whole bunch more of like stories and examples and analogies and things to go through the remainder of these sessions and stuff. But this is all the stuff that's really the whatever the stuff below the surface of the iceberg or stuff. That's the stuff we don't share a lot of screenshots and stuff anymore, but like all the stuff that you have seen or may have think that we're doing and stuff, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. All this stuff that we're talking about in these videos is what's been responsible for those results and stuff. So you won't find this on many sales videos and sales pages and stuff because they're just trying to convert you so that the person selling that product can make a lot of money and stuff. But we genuinely want to, want the best for everybody that's tuning in and stuff, because this is the stuff that changes your life. It's the strategy is usually not that special. When you don't have a lot of money, you're wanting, you a lot of times you don't really even, this stuff doesn't stick so much because you're like, okay, yeah, that's nice. What are you doing? And I promise you're not going to be super duper fascinated by the actual recipe. Like the example I use over and over again is like chocolate chip cookies or any other kind of recipe that you follow. Well, once you have a recipe, it's not very hard, but it does take a little bit of effort to put those ingredients together, but it's not ridiculously hard. Recipes are for everybody. Anybody can follow those steps and get the same results. And so our recipe is no different. Like it wouldn't make sense for us to work really hard and go through all this trial and error in the school of hard knocks for years, only to make a difficult process for ourselves. That would be pretty stupid. And then try to sell and share that with other people and say, hey, I figured it out. It's really complicated. Pay me a lot of money for this really complicated process. No, like our process is extremely simple. And the things we're talking about in these videos are the things that really make it work.
Yep. So true, guys. So true. So true. You know, man, I could keep adding for another hour. God, I'm not even kidding. We could just do a whole nother hour right now, but we want to be respectful of your time. We don't want to overload you. We are looking so forward to tomorrow because now we've got days 1 and 2 under our belt of who we are and the foundation mindset on day 1, success and abundance mindset on day 2. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about our domination strategy. We're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of what we do, how we dominate keywords in search on Google for affiliate marketing purposes, and how all that looks. And so we're so excited to share that with you guys. And we can't wait to see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Affiliate Secrets going live at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, Austin, Texas time. And we look forward to seeing you guys there. So we're going to sign off.